Okay, let us proceed today. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. And today is Monday, 16th of December. And by that, you will know, no matter where you are in the world, and if you don't know, may I bid you a happy Brexit, or happy Brexmas, ? I think I'll call it happy Brexmas, because it is not sure that we will have the type of Brexit, the complete leave means leave, pregnant, yep, half pregnant, no, you can't be half pregnant, you're either or you're not. And Brexit is a case of you either leave in total or you don't. And we shall see. And there are many who will hold Boris Johnson feet to the fire on the issue. Now, in many ways, this has been a sensational election. It's the heaviest defeat, Labour. We have a more or less two-party system here. Okay, we've got fringe parties, but it's usually Labour, the party of the people, working class people, supposed to be. And you got Conservative, or the Tories, which, if you come from the left, as I did, you're brainwashed into saying, oh, it's the party of the rich. It's that binary. There for the poor, there for the rich, never the twain's meet. There's a scintilla of truth in it, but it doesn't explain much. And I'm not quite sure I'm going to go into the left, Marxism, communism, socialism, and the social system. That, I think, is a debate in of itself, a lesson in of itself. So, for part of my manners, I am Icubian Organist. So, what I wanted to do is do something that a lot of people don't really do. And a lot of what goes on in this world is dependent upon what you do not see. A lot of people think what they see on the television, in news, yeah, that's politics, that's what's going on, but a lot of what determines what actually happens, you don't see it. And for a long time, pre-internet, you would never know that certain things happen for other reasons, and other events and other decisions were made to play out on your TV what you see, and from that you make a decision on what is presented to you. Do you know what I mean? Yes, waiter. Yes. Lovely food. It looks great. You don't know who prepared that and how it was prepared, what's gone in it. You see the ingredient, the chicken, potatoes, rice. Yes, but it could be a last meal. So it does pay attention. It does. You would do well to pay attention, and sometimes that which is good for you doesn't always come with bells and whistles. I'm not coming to you with bells and whistles. I think if my presentation and what I got to say, and those who listening, all three of you who listen and watch it, think I've got there's some merit here, you may support, and it would be nice if you subscribe. I think that's what you got to do. Click subscribe, click the bell, and any broadcast I've got, anything I've got to say, you'll be able to listen to it. So we've had this Brexit election, and the Conservatives have won. Now, it's been the heaviest defeat that Labour have had since 1935, so the media keep telling me. I didn't do the research, nobody's questioned it, I believe that's the fact. There's a lot of hand-wringing going on. Jeremy Corbyn, he's the leader of the Labour Party. He's announced he's resigning. And so there's going to be a leadership election for Labour. And the runners and riders are being suggested. Most of them are female. And I think, in fact, I'm going to predict that the Labour Party will be out of power for a very, very long time. A very long time. I will explain why this is so. And the seeds of this were sown when Blair got in. Mark my words. I shall explain it to you. But anyway, so Boris is leader of the Conservative Party, and he promises to get Brexit done. But I wanted to go a little bit back a little bit so that you can understand what's actually happening. I've never voted Tory. When I did have a vote, I did what my mum said, that you vote Labour, and I vote for Labour until my MP, who was Diane Abbott, black woman. When you actually write to her to do something, she don't do it. Got an attitude. It took her a month to actually go to her own surgery. So there's a lot of people in positions of power who really are taking the money, taking all the kudos for having that position of being the first black female MP and all the rest of it, but they're not doing the job. Especially when you're a black man, you come along, a lot of black women, when they're in power in this country, they really have no time for people like me, right? Oh, they look down at us. And let's not forget, Diane Abbott had an affair back in the day when it was all right on sister and people were feeling proud that this girl went to Cambridge. She's quote unquote one of us, and she's up there in politics. That girl was a dirty little hoe. Jeremy Corbyn was married. It didn't matter to Diane Abbott. Diane Abbott was having sex with him and pretty much pushed the woman out of her marriage. Now Corbyn being as left wing and try out anything, from the ethnics, he there boning Diane Abbott out. All this has come out, and you could probably see the pictures, you can see the memes, you can actually read the stories on any paper. I didn't really need to go that seedy. I'm just telling you because it looks like they want to have a Labour female leader. And I'm talking about, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of these females who are there for the bear. They're just there for the status of it, and they're rubbish at doing the job. Theresa May, a classic example. So she pushed out the man's wife. The man happy to have this negress in the bed, and one day, the story goes, his mates came, and he got his mates when she was in bed, and he said, look, there's my conquest. She got up, and she was upset with him for it, apparently. Well, you was going on like you're right down with the struggle, but you weren't struggling with this white guy, you know what I mean? And kudos to Jeremy. Get it where you can get it, you know what I mean? You're a lad, your wife wasn't dealing with you right, Diane came along, stop gap, you're getting it in. So, all that to say this, females, no, they've never, since the vote, they've contributed nothing. They've muddied the water. You don't have to like what I say. You really don't. It matters not what I say. Because if I read it, and you don't want to read it, that's tough. That's really tough. But you have to swallow that, because it's a reality. Okay? There are some things women are good at. Leading is not one of them. Okay? So, I say all that to well, that's a side issue. I don't mean to ramble. But, this Brexit thing, we have to understand that the only reason why we're having, or had that Brexit election was because of one man, Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage has come under so much attack and very little sympathy for the sacrifices the man has made. Now, I don't wash his underpants, I don't wash his socks, I don't sleep with him, I don't have to put up with him farting in the bed or snoring, right? I'm not interested in who he has sex with, right? But if he's a principled man on this particular issue, then we're on the same side, okay? And so I have no shame in saying I voted for the Brexit Party. I live in a heavily Labour area, so you know the one or two or three of us that voted for the Brexit Party, we're going to be swamped. And it turns out that this woman has a majority of 33,000. 33,000. Diane Abbott has a safe seat of 36,000. These two females who are given these positions will never be voted out. They're getting the money and they're loving it. And both of these females will not do the work when you give them the job to do. I have done that with my MP. I really want to mention her name, but I'm not going to. You probably know now anyway because I've said it in so many words. So I brought this, I thought, let me give you some history, because this headline says, Boris goes in for the kill. Johnson invokes Churchill in call for UK to be brave and take once in a lifetime chance to leave EU after PM tried to buy him off with either home or foreign secretary job. Now this is way back in February 2016. This is when Boris let the world know that he was anti-EU and wanted to leave. Then engaged with Michael Gove in the Leave movement. Now the Brexit movement is Nigel Farage. Project Leave was Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, and the German Labour girl, can't remember what her name is, and a few others. And the bus publication, the bus advert, although I've said it before and you can see it again, nobody told any lies on the bus because people are being blindsided. They are not reading what is on the bus. If you read what is on the bus, it doesn't say anything about promising anything. It just doesn't. But it's one of those things that blindsides people. You give something with some lettering on it, and you say what's on the lettering, and they will agree and just put it down. They're not computing to say, hold on a minute, that's not what you said. And they still run that joke, that trick. I mean, sometimes they got these things, they say, read this, and can you spot what's wrong? And people will read, the cat was on the mat. But it said the cat was on the, the cat was on the mat. They just don't see it, the brain can be fooled. Anyway, that's when he came into this, 2016. February 2016, he announces to the world, right, leave. Now Nigel Farage has been on this for the longest time, and I think it was around about 2010 when he had formed the UKIP party, United Kingdom Independence Party, and it was creating quite a storm, quite a stir, and very popular, moving. This is going to make some waves. Well, it just so happens that somebody wanted Nigel Farage out of the picture permanently, because in an advertising campaign he took to the skies in a light aircraft with a banner, trailing banner. So this is the article I've taken anyway, right? That's the article I've taken it from. It's from the Daily Mail, big deal. But it's just got a series of pictures of the actual plane crash. Now, I am not the only person who says this, but that, my friend, I believe, was not an accident. Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, if it happens in politics, or words to that effect, it's not an accident. That, I believe, that's Nigel Farage. He's upside down in the seatbelt here. Terrible position. Petrol pouring out the car, out the van, out the plane. I think it was an assassination attempt to keep him out of it. That's him. It's a miracle that he survived. So Satan can do his work. But if the Creator says, it ain't time, you will not do that. And here's some more pictures. This is all at the same time. Right? Now I'm showing you these pictures for a reason. And I'm going to leave it with you to conclude whether you believe it was an assassination attempt. Why would they want to assassinate him? Well, I think it's because he's got the heartbeat of the people with him, and that he's speaking the truth. Unless you're blindsided and totally left-wing, and infantilized with your feelings, stop calling the man racist. Most prime ministers and presidents and kings and queens are. Big deal. And if they're African, they're tribalists. Put it this way, they don't like you, right? Simple as that. I have no evidence that Nigel Farage is racist. My nose is scratching me. I don't know. I hate that. There's that itch. Twitch. Now, where was I? I was showing you those pictures. They're not great ones, and if I had I wish I was, better with the internet and stuff, and I could have the computer and give it the pictures and use the cursor so you can see. Now, if you look closely, that's another picture of Nigel Farage. That's him out, shaken up and bloodied outside the plane. The plane's behind him in the background, upside down. He could easily have been killed. That was the idea anyway. So even the assassins get it wrong from time to time. But oh no. What is it that's right in front of you that you cannot see? Because most people can't see it. It's a bit like the obvious one about the moon landing. When you see the craft leaving the moon and it's going up there and it's going back to Earth. You have to ask yourself, well, who did they leave on the moon with the camera panning up? Because it's catching it leaving, but somebody's on the moon. Or did they go? I don't know. But somebody was here at the time. I said, Nigel, you little son of a... I told you, you're lucky you ain't supposed to be here. Stand up! Stand up, boy. Stand up and get that picture. Give me that picture. Right? Somebody's right there with a professional camera taking every moment of that crash. They were there at the scene, lickety spit. And they've told this man, hey, you're going to pose, right? You're going to pose. Who do you think you are? You're not going to lead anything. Well, unless we say. Well, that could be true. I don't know. But who took the picture? How did you get there? It's a professional photograph. You know what I mean? They're all professional. They capture everything you need. Look at the people who are around him. Look at the looks on their faces. Do you know what I mean? Do they look worried? Why ain't the police there? Why ain't the ambulances there? And here we are. That was on the eve of the election. The election was that night. The election in 2010 was that night. 2016. They try again. Now Nigel Farage gets driven pretty much most places I suspect, and take a train and so forth. Busy man stuff, have a chauffeur, whatever. But it says here Nigel Farage's car wheels were sabotaged in an assassination attempt. UKIP leader lost control of Volvo when wheel fell off on motorway, and police confirm foul play. I remember an interview, and the interviewer was being so aggressive to Nigel that he would disavow that it was an assassination attempt. And Nigel kind of let it go, you know what I mean? But he was so insistent, and I'm like, it was. The minute you have to, you know what I mean? Now, I haven't followed it up, but I think the police know what they're talking about quite often. And the only reason why they are told to change their minds, usually, because the usual suspects are involved, and they're the money class, and they're the bullies running around calling people anti-Semites and stuff like that. So, what's that to do with anything? Well, we're talking about the Brexmas elections, call it the Brexmas elections, and Labour's loss. Now, you don't usually run a race unless you actually generally believe you're going to win. You're going to figure up in there somewhere, you're going to break some record, personal best, whatever the case may be. Labour went into this election, they got trounced. They lost a lot of seats and some big names in the parties. I mean, if you're in America and you heard, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Maxine Waters, Kamala Harris, name any of the names, and you realise they got thrown out of the air. I mean, it's that big. You know what I mean? These are the names. These are the people who are always on TV, always on the talks, always they're on their question times. They've always got something to say. You know what I mean? But they don't listen very well. And our media is left-wing dominated. And I wouldn't say left-wing dominated. I mean, there's a game being run on the people. There's a left wing and a right wing, and they really want the public to be binary, but the internet kind of like frees us from the binary, and it also shows us the puppet master behind the puppets, and we begin to see it. And the media, mainstream, are insistent that we don't see it. And if we do see it, then it's something to do with racism, generally anti-Semitic. They'll use conspiracy theories, and fake news is the other one. You must not look at it, forget it, and they're bringing in any kind of ideas, and they would like to outlaw. Actually, they wanted to bring in. There's a thing where they're trying to bring a law in that you can't deny climate change. You know what I mean? Or you can't question it. Be that as it may, I'm doing this video also because I've been sin-binned from Facebook for 3 days. So by the time this is on Facebook, yep, it is what it is. That's why I haven't really been posting or saying anything. I was sin-binned. Somebody reported me and violating Facebook protocols or whatever the case may be. I mean, the truth is that, I mean, it's one of those things that anybody, when you live in a left-wing world where there is no absolute truth, I think I've explained that before, and if you don't know, just go back to my early videos. You're going to learn something, you know what I mean? If there's no absolute truth, then, you know, anything can offend anybody, and, you know, it's a never-ending spiral. Today there was a female professor from my university was questioning this transgender stuff because we're going to have a census next year, and if anybody can put down they are anything, that doesn't give us the correct data, etc. This is the same essay that another one, female, from the humanities, if you will, social sciences, is trying to mark me down on. And I'm saying there's a problem here, but they don't believe in ultimate truth, absolute truth. I don't know what they think the Enlightenment was, but anyway, there you go. So here we are, we're at this election. Now this has been going on for a long time. This idea of EU, European, it used to be the EEC, the European Economic Community. And it was an arrogant attempt at white Europe to turn its back on brown world, who, brown world, aided in this world war. And that's with manpower, that's with fuel, that's with everything that brown people had. But when it comes to economics, they set themselves up in the 70s, and I thought that was out of order and racist. And they set up an economic bloc to actually wage an economic war on the rest of the world, who just helped them. I mean, go figure. It's true. But it was only supposed to be to do with economics. But no sooner do they realise they realise they've been tricked. And this is not just about economics. It's about a supranational entity that will rule without and dictate to you without you knowing. who's doing it, but everybody's following the rules. What am I talking about? Think finance. You listen to the English Western politicians. Oh, we owe this deficit and the debt. Oh, they talk about the debt ceiling and the economic debt and the debt ceiling, and the deficit is not the debt, and the debt and the deficit, and we've only paid off a little bit of the deficit, and they won't tell you who they owe. But somebody, it isn't a nation, they are beholden to. It's not what you see, it's about what you don't see. And those are the questions you need to ask, rather than chatting rubbish about some ends that you don't control, or some insult which you could just as well ignore coming from an arsehole. I mean, hey, a cow farted in the field. Okay. But these people, they're so sensitive, they're going to get involved in that. I mean, why? It's in the field, it's got nothing to do with you. Cows fart a lot. A lot of methane goes on in the air. You know what I mean? So, he said, she said, I was just watching, World Star. Somebody's got some money. Boy, you're flicking up this money. Why? Why do you have to show anybody what you got? And next minute somebody tried to rob him on live Facebook. Anyway, be that as it may, right? That's the cow in the field, farting away. I'm not interested. That's not my culture. And the fact that he's a similar hue to me, hey, that's nothing to do with me. So this is about the UK, which is a European Union. It's called the United Kingdom. And it consists of 4 nations. That's England, Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland. Off the coast of England, there is an island, the Emerald Island. It is split into 2. You've got the Republic of Ireland, the Catholics, and you've got the Northern Irish, which will be some Catholics and some Protestants. Okay? The division of Ireland goes way back into the 17th century, and to be precise, you'd have to go to 1600s. And the Battle of the Boyne, which was the decider. It was between King William of Holland, Mr. Orange, and the Catholic James. And James got his arse bust. And that's where that division is, and that's where that branch of Englishness has stayed ever since. Okay. So that's the United Kingdom. It's a European Union. It has a currency. We've got a unique currency. We've got the only unique currency in Europe, because it still denotes itself, tells you straight up, it's a receipt. If you read your £5, they got rid of the pound, too much evidence. They say a coin, we'll print it in a coin, it's much more, usable, and it's more efficient, and all it does is tear holes in your pocket, you know what I mean? But the coin doesn't tell you something. The coin is just made out of useless, worthless metal, right? But the pound note, as your £5 note, your £10 note, your £50 note will tell you every time. It says, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of, and this is another trick they ran on us. They brought in a metric system, and they thought the metric system will get rid of the old, imperial system. But no, people still like their imperial because they like their pounds. They like their ounces, they like their pounds. And what you've got is a receipt denoting how much pounds of a precious metal. And since the pound sterling, and sterling is characterized in silver, then you have £1 worth of silver, £5 worth of silver, £50 worth of silver. Ideally, effectively, what you should be able to do is go to a bank, not just an outlet, because what you think of banks are outlets, but a bank, and you could have your barrels, people with the barrel, you know what I mean, or your van, or whatever it is, and you say, well, I've had enough of your receipts, I've come to get my silver. So could you load it, please? And you should be able to get that, because there's a crime being committed. You see, the EU has the euro, and the euro is just like monopoly money. There's nothing on it apart from whatever, and it's printed like I can print this off. That's how it's printed off, and you share it out and you spend with it. It's got no value. It's just monopoly money. that people take serious because you choose to take it serious. But the pound note is a receipt. It's not actual money. We use it like money, but it's not actual money. So this is one of the reasons I think I explained this in my earlier video. Tough luck if you didn't hear it or didn't want to watch it. One of the reasons why I definitely were voting not to join the EU, to get the hell out of however far we're in. Not only was it an insult to people of my heritage, Caribbeans, and the Caribbean